everyone, this is Kurt again, welcoming you to another episode of Nonsense. On this episode, entitled Our Friend Parry Normal, Jenn and I discuss our paranormal experiences, some of which are spiritual, but all are definitely supernatural nonsense. And hey, if you're enjoying our show, please help us out by giving a 5-star rating, writing a short review, subscribing, and sharing. And now, without any further introductory nonsense, please enjoy the show.
Go shorty, it's your birthday. We're gonna party like it's your birthday. Welcome to Now That's Nonsense. I am kicking off this show by wishing the real star, the originator of Now That's Nonsense, Kurt Becker. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much, honey. That's really nice. It's nice that you say star. I think that's kind of you to say, but in listening back to the episodes, I think you're the star.
Oh, schmoopy. Stars, they're all unique, right? And they all have their individual light. It's like no snowflake's the same.
So we're two special snowflakes doing a show.
Yes.
That sounds best.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Do you have any idea why I'm calling the show, the topic of today's show?
Absolutely no idea.
I love that. And you got to do that to me one time.
I
don't
will.
think you've called it on me yet.
Okay.
Oh, then maybe you have.
I think I did once, but...
Maybe that was a show before we got the headsets and the sound quality wasn't so good, and so it didn't air. But when we have more followers and then we're going to put up special content... You know, anybody who listens to podcasts, you know where I'm heading with that. Just know there'll be the availability of special content in the future.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So, anyway, this show, why I wanted to have this show is because the topic that's on my radar more and more so lately is the paranormal. The paranormal. And so... I almost don't like the name power. Like some words, after use for a while, I feel like they get almost a negative connotation. And to me, paranormal, for people who aren't into it, I think can have a negative connotation. I don't know if there's a better word out there for it, but the paranormal is becoming more and more normal for me these days. And it's become more normal for you these days too, in talking about it? Go ahead.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's become more normal for me in that, like, I was abducted by an alien and by an ET.
ETs, please.
And now I'm a believer, or I had seen a starship in the sky or something like that. I just think I'm open to having a dialogue, and I'm open to seeing an encounter or whatever. I'm open.
You are. Can I ask you something?
But am I a believer? Am I on board gung-ho like you? No.
Mom,
but,
yeah.
You know.
I always take things to the extreme.
You do. So I'm the grounded side of the topic, I guess.
I love that you called UFOs starships. I want to call them starships from now on.
I did say starship.
I think that name. I think I saw a starship. Cool. You mean a UFO? Yeah, but it was a starship. Yeah, a UFO. Yeah, I love that name. So, like, starship is such a fantastic name for UFOs. I have no doubt you'll come up with a new name for paranormal meets the spiritual. There'll be like a new name, and you're going to coin it. This is the creator of AccuPlace here.
Yeah.
AccuPlace technology. My wife's in advertising, and she came up with a word that became a word. I'm sorry, you maybe you're blushing and don't want to talk about it, but I'm proud of you. You created a word that became a product name of something, right?
Yeah, but it to me was not difficult. I don't know. It was a very basic term. So you are sweet in giving it more credit than it's due. And who knows if it even has AccuPlace anymore? I don't even know. It's like, 12 years ago. But anyway...
Why I want to have the show is introducing the paranormal and then talking about our past experiences.
Well,
like from zero to now, like you've had...
I'm curious to hear what you think my experience is, because if I'm thinking right now, I have no idea what you're talking about that you think I've had an experience. So I can't wait for you to enlighten me and our listeners.
You know, it's great. I've heard it said that when the talk gets going on it, eventually everyone realizes they've had an experience. So this is actually perfect. I couldn't even set this up any better.
I'm racking my brain.
This is perfect. So I'll start with my experiences.
Okay.
My first experience is a secondhand account. I remember my sister, let's say she's 6 or 7.
And you were how old?
I was a year younger than her, however old she was. Yeah, and let me give the background if this matters. Raised Roman Catholic. So raised, you go to church every Sunday.
There's such a thing as the devil. I'm sorry, I grew up that way.
Yeah, the devil was mentioned, but I wouldn't say he was upplayed in my church anyway. He was mentioned, you didn't want to do bad things and go to his place. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't the fear of God was put in you. You were told what you should believe.
Okay.
And I'm cool with that. I was brought into it. But there's a lot of other stuff going on there as well. So it's not like I was brought up in an environment we talked about the other stuff ever. We only talked about God, Jesus, the apostles, saints, stuff like that. So one night, my sister in bed said she woke up and she saw 3 shadow figures standing over her bed.
Wow.
And even being religious, she didn't say 3 saints, 3 angels. She said 3 shadow figures. So my first experience is hearing my sister's story of 3 shadow figures. And I was a very fear-filled child. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm sure... I love that story now. I'm sure I didn't like it one bit as a kid, and I don't think she ever liked it.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be scary for a child that age.
My sister's not one to make up stories, so there's a paranormal experience right there. The 2 that jumped to my mind when I thought I was going to have this show, would you call psychic stuff that then comes true as paranormal? I feel like that...
No.
The psychic...
For me, paranormal, I have a very focused subset here. Like, paranormal to me, it comprises things like UFOs, extraterrestrials, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, like those types of things. I think when you have psychic experiences, or you know how there was that TV show Touched by an Angel, and like angel, or even I've also heard accounts of people, like somebody knocking on their door and coming just at like the right time and sitting in their kitchen and then like disappearing or never seeing them again. Like, and to me, it's like an angel actually presenting themselves. And I don't know if I would classify that kind of an experience as paranormal, because if we're talking about spirit guides or guardian angels, I think that's more of a spiritual and divine experience versus a paranormal experience.
You know, it's so great. I love the way you're saying it, what you're saying, because I believe the spiritual and the paranormal are the exact same thing. Like I love this because you say when an angel comes and da-da-da-da, but if you take out the word angel and you say someone appeared at someone's door and then they disappeared, that in and of itself is paranormal. It's like outside the normal. Let's say I'm not using the term right, but for the sake of this show, let's talk about experiences that have happened to us outside the normal.
That sounds great.
All right, so my sister sees 3 shadowy figures. My first one that comes to mind for me when I thought of having the show with you was the meeting of you.
Oh.
I've never had a good psychic reading, except once. I went to a psychic 2 weeks before I met you, and the psychic, everything else she said didn't resonate with me. The only thing that resonated with me, because it then came true, is I'm going to read a redhead and she's going to knock me off my feet and she's going to be the one. And like 2 weeks later I met you, and then the rest is history. 18 years later is history. To me that's paranormal. I was the type of person who never thought he was going to get married.
I remember that about you. But we were both super into, and I remember that night we were having a conversation about psychics. So that was really cool. I've never really had a good psychic reading, pretty much. Agreed, ever.
So on my larger heading of the paranormal, even on the... Oh, I'm sweating here. Even the larger heading of the paranormal of just an out-of-the-normal experiences, nothing's registering yet for you. But something's going to register. So let me talk about my second one. So first one, meeting you.
Oh, you're trying to lead me. You're trying to lead me to a memory.
Yes, but I don't know what the memory is either.
Oh.
I'm going based on what I've heard in paranormal circles that, yeah, when you're sitting around telling stories, when you encounter people, many people, I want to even say most people, would say like, yeah, I never had anything happen to me. And then as the conversation goes on, they're like, wait, there was that one time, like that's going to happen for you.
I have a bunch of those that are related to people loved ones who have passed on. And I've had, experiences of them just showing up and being present for me as like a sign that I'm here, I'm still with you. And those have been really cool. This
is outside the normal. Give me one of those experiences and the details, please.
When we were living in Connecticut and we were on a bowling league, which was so much fun. And
Dittertown!
Yes, shout
out Dittertown.
And we went bowling one night just for fun, and I had ordered bowling shoes, and they took weeks to come in, and I was so excited about these bowling shoes because they were like the coolest bowling shoes ever. They were purple, they looked like really awesome sneakers, and they reminded me of my friend Janine, who passed away right before her 18th birthday, and I was 18 or 19 at the time, and she was a dear friend. So my shoes come in and we're going to go bowling. And I remember I was also at the time reading the Dalai Lama's book, An Open Heart. Mm-hmm. And we were bowling, and I just remember people in the lane over from us, these two women, they were bowling. I didn't know them at all. But I remember looking over at them and feeling my heart open and feeling so much love just come into my heart. It was unlike anything I've ever experienced before. And then I looked up on the screen and it said Nini. And that's what we used to call Deneen, was Nini or Neen.
I just got the chills up and down my body.
So, and I'm wearing the bowling shoes that I bought because they reminded me of her.
And we used to talk about her all the time.
Yeah,
as if she was
it
present.
Was really, so that was a cool experience.
To me, that's paranormal. Outside the normal, these coincidences lining up.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
You're a word person, so eventually I hope you come up for a new word from me that takes paranormal and spiritual and puts it together and it's a word that makes sense to everybody. But let's go on. So within the psychic realm, and then we'll go outside the psychic realm, because I have had paranormal experiences too, like traditional paranormal experiences. But inside the psychic realm, I remember I was 21, 22. Me, Eric, Mike, and Karen, high school friends. We were at a local bar. I feel like we were celebrating somebody's birthday. We were all newly 21-ish, 22-ish. And we all slept over Karen's house afterwards. And the next day I was going to the city. I had this dream that night that the Sharabas are coming up. My friend Chuck, his sister, and his parents are coming up from Florida. And in my dream, I'm in Mike's house, and they're visiting, and my dad's there too. And that was the dream, they were up visiting. And then the next day I got up, and I was getting ready to go to the city, and Mike called me and said, oh, guess what? The Sharabas just stopped in, they're visiting. And so I canceled whatever my city plans were and went there. And it was everything was exactly the same, except my dad wasn't there.
Wow.
That was probably the only psychic dream I've ever had.
That's cool.
Premonition. That was one little detail different than what actually happened.
That's cool.
So let me start talking paranormal experiences and then see if then you had any paranormal experiences.
Okay.
I have what I describe as really super spiritual dreams sometimes, and I'll just define that as it's a dream, but it's a dream amplified up the sound, the color, the sensation, everything. It's almost realer than real life in a way. Everything feels light and enlightened, and I feel very bah! And to wake up from one of those, I try and hold that feeling for as long as possible. To me, I imagine that when people say they go to heaven and they come back and they're like, I can't describe it. It was wonderful. It was I have dreams that have that sensation that I imagine heaven feels like. And then I wake up into that sensation. And I know I'm awake now, so it's going to fade. And I try and hold on to it as long as possible. Mm-hmm. Well, one night I had a super spiritual dream. I woke up. It was dark out, but I know the moonlight was coming in a little, so it was dark, but a little light, and there was a shadow figure right up to my face, if our dog Bernie was coming up to kiss you, but he was like still 2 inches away, like this shadowy silhouette of a head that was darker. And people have described this with shadow figures. It's dark, and then they're darker than the dark.
Huh.
So, and it was right by my face. Now, if I'd woke up in any other state, I'm sure I would have went like, "Oh, what is that?" But I woke up in a state of like heavenly bliss, and when I opened my eyes and saw it, I just was looking at it, looking at me, and then I even looked away from it and knew it was still there, and I just maintained my peace, like nothing was breaking the peace I was in. And I'd say after a minute or two, it just wasn't there anymore.
So what, did you have any sort of feeling around the energy or like the shadow?
I felt like it was curious. Like, what? Who? This guy's... I see this guy looking at me. I was looking at this guy while he was sleeping. He opened his eyes, and maybe I was thinking of pulling away, but this guy was opening his eyes. He looked at me. He felt he was feeling blissful. He like gave a little smile and then looked away from me and let me continue to sit there and be curious. Like the feeling I got was one of curiosity. Like, who is this fellow, and why is he not like jumping from me? And
did you see what it looked like?
Just it's a silhouette of blackness with the sense.
But it had a persona,
a sense of presence.
Okay.
If you were called into a meeting and there was a new worker at your place and you didn't meet them yet, and you were called to a meeting and you just happened to be sitting next to the person, and say you came in late to the meeting, so you don't even say anything to the person, you could probably pick up an energy off the person.
Yeah.
And you can have a sense. People have a sense. This thing had a sense. So it had a sense to it. It felt curious. I didn't feel fear, but I don't think I would feel fear unless something like appeared to me and it had like really long nails and really long teeth and was like, ah!
Yeah.
And I wasn't waking up super spiritual feeling, or I maybe just had a nightmare, and then the thing was the thing in my nightmare and I woke up, like, yeah, then I'd probably crap my pants.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So besides the shadow guy, I saw E.T. Not an E.T. I saw Starship in the sky one night. I was doing... I remember when you kind of changed about UFOs, I think. Tell me if this is right or not. There's a Netflix documentary, undisclosed, some Dr. Stephen Greer's talking about openly with other credible witnesses about that there are UFOs and people of high-ranking military have seen them and blah, 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 blah. And you watched that with me and you were like, maybe there are UFOs. Like,
I remember that.
Yeah. So... And since I'm more into the paranormal these days, I started reading more into that, and I heard that people do this meditation where they try and connect with the ETs, and this guy has retreats where you can gather in the desert in a circle, do a meditation, and sometimes UFO will appear. So I'm like, I want to try that. That sounds pretty cool. The second night I tried doing it, for the first time ever in my life, I saw a light appear in the sky, zip across the sky, I'd say half a mile to a mile in like a second. So it appears, it was like 5 times the size of a star. It appears in the horizon, in the dark, goes across the horizon, like, what I calculated is the best of my ability to be a half mile at a mile in like a second, and then just disappear. And it didn't appear because it appeared from behind a building or trees and went behind a building or trees. It like appeared, zipped, and disappeared.
Wow.
And I can't think of anything else it could have been. Is that paranormal?
That sounds paranormal for sure.
It's definitely outside the normal. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah. That's crazy town. So, maybe we'll do the meditation together tonight.
Yeah, you know what? And if something happens, or even if it's something of note, we'll have a follow-up show.
Yeah.
So I definitely saw a shadowy figure. I definitely saw Starship. So, what would you want to experience?
What? I don't know. That's such a huge question. What would I want to experience? I guess because I don't have a lot of knowledge about what's possible and what's out there, and I don't have an affinity for any genre of extraterrestrial or paranormal activity, I can't say without having an affinity for something, I don't even know how I would answer that.
Could I say what do you think the first thing came into your mind was, or can I give you choices? I want you to say something, so which direction you want to go with it?
It would be so cool if I could meet E.T. from the actual movie.
Yeah, like he's
super cute.
I have to say this. I have an idea for E.T. the extraterrestrial, but nowadays, and I love that Drew Barrymore would definitely be in it. Like they're all older, and I think it would make a great movie. And I agree. Like E.T. came down, like E.T. like an older version of E.T. He can be the ambassador for all the ETs and everything extraterrestrial and paranormal. If ET came down here, who wouldn't be like, oh my God, ET?
Yeah.
Like, everyone would go
exciting.
nuts. He'd be a star, and people would just love him.
Ooh, what about Alf?
People may take him the wrong way. Wasn't Alf? I didn't watch Alf, but what I got from Alf was really snarky and dry.
Yeah, I liked Alf, but that was also my generation versus yours.
Like E.T. is universal. E.T.'s like you see a puppy. Like a puppy. Like E.T. is like, oh, it's E.T. Alf, I feel like, is 50-50. Because not everyone likes snarky dry.
But he was cute looking.
He was definitely cute looking. But then he's going to eventually talk, right? And hang out. I'm saying E.T.'s like... E.T. didn't talk, right?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't remember. Oh, wait. E.T.
He had phone home, and he had the speak and spell. They used that to communicate.
Yeah, so he talked minimally.
Yeah.
Alf, you could imagine Alf talks a lot.
Chatterbox.
Yeah, not everyone's down for that.
He made sandwiches. He was from Melmac.
Melmac.
Yeah.
Melmac. So, I want to submit to you that you have had a paranormal experience.
Okay.
Perhaps, or outside the normal, but you be the judge. I don't want to press you or put words in your mouth or do anything like that. Have you had anything ghosts? Have you seen, like, ghosts is like legit paranormal, and you're like, I saw a ghost once, or shadowy figures,
Sometimes it's been a really long time, probably like a year or so since this has happened, but I always, like for years, would maintain that in our kitchen, right where the garbage pail is and the cabinets, I would always feel like I would see a presence standing in that area. Just like kind of like a shadow. Just out of the corner of my eye, I was always seeing a shadow there.
I love this because, as I said when we started the show, people say they don't have any experiences. Now we've come to it. You say you often?
It was pretty often.
Yeah, see a shadowy figure in the kitchen.
And you remember me saying that,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
you?
So yeah, but I didn't remember until we did the show. So you do have a paranormal experience that you have. There's a sense of a presence in the room, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. You see something. Do you get a sense from it? Question right back at you that you gave me. Do you get like a sense from it?
Mm-mm. No, I don't get a sense. It's just there. I don't know. I kind of ignore it, actually, because I'm like, I don't know what that is, and I don't take the approach of, oh, I'm scared, or what is it? I'm freaked out. I just think there's something there, and maybe it'll present itself in a bigger way, but if it wants to be there, and then it really wants my attention, then it needs to do something a little bit more.
Is that, just to be clear, is that an invitation or just saying, like, factually speaking, not an invitation, factually speaking, if you want my attention, like...
We got to go next level, I think, because I'm not as invested in these experiences like you are. So for me to do that, like see that, I wouldn't be like, okay, there it is again. I just saw it. Right now I'm going to go and maybe I'll just do like a short meditation to see if I can connect with what that was. Like, I wouldn't really do that. But now that like we're talking about it, I think I kind of take it more as just, in my mind, I've always kind of equated it to more of like a comforting thing, or it's not, you know, it's a nice presence. It's not a heavy presence or a dark presence. It's soothing. And it reminds me of the time when Andy passed away, our dog, and it was within that week of having lost him. And I remember we were sitting on the couch up here, and our garbage pail is the kind that you have to wave your hand over it in order for the thing to open. Mm-hmm. And I remember just thinking about Andy and the garbage pail just opening and closing.
And he used to walk by it and make it open and close. So you're not anywhere near the garbage. That's outside the normal.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And that's in the area where I see the shadow.
Could the shadow be a version or a form of Andy?
Maybe.
Are you open to this just for the sake of fun? And then this is segueing. FYI, this is segueing in. I'm going to be having my own podcast in addition to this podcast. It's called One Spirit's Journey. And my brilliant wife who coined AccuPlace technology.
Is it One Spirit's Journey or One Spirit's Life? I thought it was One Spirit's Life.
It's One Spirit's, what I say?
One Spirit. You don't even know the name of your own show.
It's One Spirit's Life. A spiritual and paranormal journey am I going to be my solo podcast, and it's going to be talking more about the kind of stuff we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. My experiences into the spiritual and paranormal realm.
Right.
So that's part of the reason we're having this show. And are you open with this? Would you call it a spirit or just presence? What do you feel comfortable calling the thing?
A presence.
Are you comfortable with next time you sense the presence, just stopping in that moment for like a minute and being like,
"Sure, I will do that."
What's up? All right, great. So this is part 1. Part 2 is going to happen when it happens. This is part 1 of a show. We'll definitely do a follow-up show. Comments, questions,
shared experiences,
stuff. If you are into the paranormal stuff you'd like to see me get into on my show. My show is going to be, I want it to be a reality show meets spirituality meets paranormal. I want to record the show while I'm experiencing things. Mm-hmm. And so I want it to be a mostly live show. And I might have guests like my wife on every once in a while to talk about her paranormal experiences that she seems like she's going to have more of.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Well, thanks for joining us. I know it was maybe a little different than our other shows, but I hope you liked it.
It was still nonsensical.
It was still nonsensical enough. I believe so. Great. So until next time, everyone, peace.
And namaste.